CBS 46 News presents Public Affairs on Peach.
Good morning. Welcome to Public Affairs on Peach. I'm Sharon Reed. A CBS 46 Investigates exclusive. Teens, trauma, and trouble. For the next month, we are going to dig deep into the juvenile justice system, and we will take a look at what has changed and how bad some cases have become. We begin Public Affairs on Peach as CBS 46 investigator Karen Greer gives us an up-close look at courtrooms in Fulton and Douglas counties.
It's for all of us to remind us of the decisions we make, the work we do. Every time you decide where a child sleeps, it changes their life forever.
But how those decisions are made are not often seen. Every one of these photos represents a life touched by juvenile court in Douglas County. They're here so that those who make the decisions remember the impact they have every day.
It's really important that we don't think of our children as being a case number. They're people, and every decision that we make about them affects their life.
But to really understand the magnitude of what happens and how those decisions are made, CBS 46 takes you exclusively inside juvenile court to witness the process. Over the past year, our cameras have had full, unprecedented access right here in these Douglas County juvenile courtrooms. We've been documenting what's going on behind these cases that are closed and oftentimes sealed.
The department has filed a petition to terminate your rights to your child.
Take a good look. Unless you're involved in a juvenile court proceeding, this is as close as you'll get to seeing what really goes on in juvenile courtrooms across the state of Georgia. Judge Peggy Walker presides over cases involving children, from babies to teenagers.
I'm a big boy now.
Yes, you are a big boy now.
While juvenile court resembles many other courtrooms across the country, a significant difference is who participates in the proceeding.
She would like to be present.
Things are different now. Children are actually parties to the case. They have lawyers, they have guardian ad litems, and we want to make sure that we make the experience for them as pleasant as it can be under the circumstances.
Children participating in their cases is not the only change that's taken place in Georgia's juvenile courts. For decades, child advocates have complained too many young people were being pushed into the juvenile justice system for nonviolent offenses like truancy, fighting at school, petty theft, and just plain acting out. But that is changing. Judges are turning to alternative and diversion programs that are proving to help keep kids out of the correctional system. This after Georgia Governor Nathan Deal signed landmark legislation in 2013 to improve Georgia's juvenile justice system. But is legislation enough to help the kids?
We spend all of our time trying to change the behavior but not understanding its origins.
And many times what causes children to appear in court in the first place,
Both of the parents are incarcerated. There is not anyone to visit the children.
is as complicated as the cases.
The children were present at the death of their mother.
Yes.
And you were there as well.
Yes.
You can't make it routine. If you do, you've missed something. Every case has to have the same degree of attention because we want all of our children to do well.
That's the hope. Every decision made here impacts a young life every day.
And it's not just in Douglasville. Those decisions are being made in courtrooms across the state. Joining me now is the judge, Peggy Walker. You saw in that piece from Douglas County Juvenile Court. Before, Judge, we begin a wide-ranging discussion on this topic. Tell us about your personal story. What brought you to the bench?
My mother was a City of Atlanta school teacher, and she taught the poorest children in the city, and she believed that she could change their lives, lift them out of poverty, if they could learn to read. And she wanted every child to have the opportunity to read. She would make referrals on children when she suspected abuse and neglect. They would disappear from her classroom, and she would never know what happened to those children. But she didn't stop caring about them. She didn't stop thinking about them. She never stopped advocating for them.
Just like news, only yours is a lot more serious. Your day job, which you do every day, every story is different for us. Every case, you made the point in the piece, every case is different for you, and it deserves that non-cookie cutter approach, that individual approach.
It's extremely important to know the facts of your case, to know the people, to know what interests them, what they want to do, where they are, where they're headed. You can't make the decisions if you don't know the details, so you can't rush through and you can't just try to do the same thing for every person. That's not what needs to happen. We need to hear children's voices. What the research shows is if a child really thinks that they've had their voice heard, even if you don't give them what they ask for, they feel like they've had the opportunity to participate and they have better outcomes because they've been a part of the process. But if they don't understand why they were removed from their home, they don't understand why the decision is made to place them where they are, they don't know whether they're going back home or not home, because I'm very honest with children, even when it's not what they want to hear, and even when it's painful, I tell them where we are, what we're trying to do, and what my expectations are for their family. I don't want them to in any way be misled by the process.
Children being heard in the courtroom, that is a part of the reform. I want to talk more about that. I want to know more about what they are saying to you, the ages that these kids are who are participating, much more with the judge when we come back. We're running up against a break. Public Affairs on Peach. We'll be right back.